Hello everyone, I'm Yusuf from TechnoStudy. This class we're going to be talking about methods. So the purpose of methods is basically their functions. The functions that you create, the algorithm that you create. You create a method, then you use it to save your time. Let's show an example for it. So in class, you don't put inside the main methods because main method is also a method. See when you say main method declaration. So it's a main method. It is a method too. So putting a method inside of method, it's kind of hard. So there are some parts to the methods. First, let me show you the most common way to write a method for me. So public static void, and then let's say print. So this method right now, it will work. This is called an access modifier. We will talk about it in the advanced class about our access modifier. Static, it's a keyword which helps you to call it from every other class and every other file. We'll talk about it in the advanced class as well. But if you want to write the simplest way to method, it's just void and print. Void is basically you guys know what that means. It's just null. And if you don't, there are some options that you can put instead of void. You can put integer, string. So this is your return type. What is a return type? We'll get to that. So let me show you what actually is method works for. So let's say system.println, say hello world. So let's put it in the main method so we can print it out. Print. It doesn't work because it's not static. Now it will work. Let's run it. So as you see, it says hello world. If you want to print out hello world, you can write like system.println, or you can put it in a for loop and write hello world, right? And it will write it for you. But if you do like 5 and then print, now this will do it for you. Like every time you say print inside this method, inside in here, or after the, maybe you have like 200 lines of code, then you can anytime, you don't have to write system.println quotes hello world quotes parentheses semicolon. You don't have to write that. When you just write print and you put parentheses and semicolon, it will print hello world for you. So this is what the purpose of methods is. So let me show you in a return type way. String and print hello, and I'm going to say return hello world. So return is your return type, as I said. This will have to be same with this. If I write here 3, it's going to say tell me that required type is string and provided type is integer. So I have to write here hello world, and if I here print hello. So returning and system.println are kind of different and kind of the same. So return is what gives out. So system.println gives it right here. As you see, this part, it prints it out. But returning is different. Returning is basically giving it out. But if you don't put it inside of a system.println, it just gives out to space, like air, and then it just disappears. Let me show you what I mean. If I print this, it's not going to print anything because it will return, but it will not give it to you. But if I put here system.println, and if I want to print this out, now print hello is inside of a system.println, then it will return it for me. It will print it for me. So you guys may say, when are we going to use the return type and so on and so forth, right? So system.println, you cannot put give a system.println to a variable. So if you have integer a, let's say 0. Oops. If you have integer a, actually string a. So how are we going to fill this hello world with? How are we going to fill out string a with this hello world? Can you? No, you can't, because hello world, every time you write, it's going to print it out. But if you want to fill this a with hello world, since this is returning, you can say a equals, actually you don't even need to do this, string and then print hello, and then system.println a. Let's see, and as you see, it prints out hello world here. Because print hello, you will return a value. But if you say print, see, it says provided type is void and given is string. Void means that there's just no return type, and you cannot assign it to a value. You can just print it. You cannot do anything with it. You can just print it, and you can do stuff inside of it. You don't have to print anything. Like if I just leave this empty, it's still going to work, but it's not going to do anything. It's not going to be any functional. So let's solve an example of how to use methods usefully. So integer a, let's say 5, and then integer b, let's say 10, 100, okay? What if you want to add these values together, like sum? So let me just say sum here, and then sum numbers. So how are you going to sum this up, and then you're going to print it out? Let's say system.println a plus b. And here we're going to say return a plus b. These doesn't see it because these are not static. Let me just make sure they're static. And I have to change this too, I'm sorry. Okay, great. So static int, let's see. System.println, say sum numbers. Now this will add these two numbers and do it for me. So this is an easy way to use a method. But what if the numbers change every time? What if I want to give it to x and y? What if I want to add 3 and 10? What if I want to do this? So when you do that, there are things called parameters. Parameters are basically you put it inside the parentheses. Let me show you what I mean here. I will delete this now and then show you here. So static int numbers, let's say integer x and integer y. So integer x and integer y are not visible to any other thing except sum numbers method. You cannot see, let's see here. Let me do this. When I press x, it says cannot resolve symbol x. When I press x here, it says the same thing. And every time I put x out of sum numbers method, you're not going to be able to see it because this parameter is only visible for this method. Think of it like disposable phones or disposable variables. This is only visible for this method. You use it, and then after this method, you're not going to be able to see the x anywhere again. It's like you give it an example for this. I will delete this to make it more visible, not make it too complicated. So if I say x plus y, when I call this method, you see here, don't worry about it. Sum numbers int x and int y. When I call this, I have to fill this. What is it? X and y. So right now I'm filling x. So what are two numbers I want to add? Let's say 97 and 46. Okay. So here you see x is represented by 97, y is represented by 46. And if I print this out here, it's going to give me 193. Every time I give a number, let's change this to 37 and 26. Every time I give a number, it will take it from the parameter, it will add it, and it will return the number. And if I put it in a system.println, it's going to print the number out. So this is basically what you can do with methods. Methods are a really huge topic. This is just a glimpse of it. You're going to be learning a lot more in the course. Well, that's it for today, guys. Thank you for listening to our lesson, and I'll